was on a motorcycle and tried fleeing by cutting through lanes. That forced the trooper to swerve and run off the road and crash into an embankment. He died at the hospital. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Boeing has another issue with more planes after last month's scare on an Alaska Airlines flight when a door plug blew off, leaving a gaping hole, leading to a temporary grounding of all 737 MAX 9 jets.
Boeing will need to rework about 50 undelivered 737 MAX jets. Holes in the plane bodies were drilled in the wrong place. Multiple reports citing internal memos say the misdrilled holes were found by a supplier's employee. The fuselages were supplied by Spirit Aerosystems, which has been at the center of the quality issues. Boeing says the issue could delay some deliveries in the near term, though existing 737s can keep flying. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
On Wall Street, a big sell-off. The Dow's down 400 points over worries the Fed will be cautious cutting interest rates. The NASDAQ is dropping 125. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Well, here's the good news. It's going to be a while before we have to worry about any rain across the area. Staying dry for most of the work week. A partly cloudy sky today. It's still comfy for early February. High temperatures in the mid-50s. Back down around freezing. Cooler with low 50s on the way for Tuesday and Wednesday. Climbing back up towards 60, though, by the end of the week. And the rain chances making a return by the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
For 42 years, Johnson's Parts and Supply has been your Auto Value Auto Parts store. When you need auto parts, think Johnson's Parts and Supply, your Auto Value Auto Parts store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
WSIC News Talk Now.
Any views expressed in this program do not necessarily represent those of WSIC.
All systems are a go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats. Taking Care of Iredell with North Carolina State Representative Jeff McNeely is about to begin. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Iredell County. Hey, good to be back here on the air. Got two guests today. Got Angela Wilcox-Matthews in, and also going to have Gene Haupt calling in. So we're going to do the county commissioners. We're back on that. Sorry, folks, I was gone last week for a little bit. I had to give my wife a little bit of time. This campaigning thing kind of makes you neglect family, and so I got her in the right situation. So the February is just going to be maddening. So good to have you here in the studio with me, Angela. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Good morning. I'm glad that you had me here, and I appreciate that, and glad that you guys got away maybe for a little early Valentine's celebration.
That'll be about as good as it gets. You're right there. That'll be about as good as it gets. Real quick before I get in talking with Angela, we got some questions and whatnot. Of course, like I said, it's been a little bit, but Ron DeSantis dropped out of the race here a couple of weeks ago while I was gone, and now it's just President Trump and Nikki Haley. And South Carolina's coming this Saturday, and it will be interesting to see what happens after that. So we will see. I do think Ron DeSantis, there may be a chance for a VP nomination. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So we're not going to really take any calls today because we got two guests because I'm trying to get all this in before early voting, so I hate that. But we'll get you soon. But we're going to go ahead and get on in. Also, one thing real quick, there is a forum coming up on February the 12th, so that's next week at 6:30 at the Agricultural Center down there, Ottawa County Extension Office, and it's going to be my race, the 84th District, and also the County Commissioners, and this is Farm Bureau putting this on, so this will probably have a little ag slant to it, but I hope you come out and get to hear what your candidates have to say. That's one of the reasons I like to try to do these interviews on air and let you know, just so you get to know these people and understand, because it's not easy. Win, lose, draw. You throw your name in the hat. You put yourself up for a whole lot of stuff that you didn't really ask for, and it gets tough. So anyway, just trying to get that out there, and so I hope y'all come out and, learn a little bit about who you're voting for, who you're talking with. All right, we're going to go ahead and get on into this, Angela, if you're ready. How are you this morning?
Sure, I'm doing pretty good. I think it's been a big blur from Thanksgiving into Christmas to having a new grandbaby.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Abby had her daughter 1st of January, and so now we're right in the middle of thick of tax season, campaign season, and it's a busy time. I was telling you a little earlier that this time of the year it's 7 days a week for us, and you throw a campaign into the mix, and free time.
It's 8 days a week.
Yeah, free time just sort of went out the window.
That's
right. But it's all worth it. At the end of the day, I think 2 years ago we had a primary in May, which gave me a little bit of relief, but this time it's in March, and so you just kind of have to. In politics, you kind of have to take what's thrown at you and just kind of roll with it.
Well, it's a good thing they pay us a lot, about $14,000 a year.
It's definitely worth the paycheck for sure. Everything that we go through.
Hey, this really ain't one of our questions, but maybe just tell us a little bit, who is Angela Wilcox Matthews? Who are you, ma'am?
So, honestly, I wanted to start off and tell everybody a little bit about who I am. I was actually born just a few minutes from here at Iredell Memorial Hospital, way, way, way back in 1973. And started out in this community. I started out at Wayside Elementary. I don't know if you remember that school.
Yep.
And it's a shame. Every time I go by there, I'm kind of sad because that's where I started, my schooling, and ended up graduating at West Iredell High School.
All right.
And
I'm a warrior. I get you.
yeah, so I was in the band, as a majorette there, and I played on the tennis team.
Okay.
Involved, pretty actively there at the school, and then I chose to pursue a career in accounting. So I went to Catawba College in Salisbury, and I actually got my bachelor's degree in 3 years, so I worked really hard to kind of get through that. I wanted to be, through school, wanted to start work and get my career going.
Make some money.
Yeah, because it's tough being a broke college kid, that's for sure. And so I wanted to start making some money, and I wanted to start studying for the CPA exam because it's a really tough exam.
Oh, yeah.
And only 40% of folks post-college actually pass the exam. So it's something that you really have to put some time into.
Yeah.
So I'm used to really putting my time in, doing my homework, showing up, studying for the test. So a couple years ago, decided to kind of get involved in politics, and that's where we're at now.
Well, there you go. So this is your second go. You ran 2 years ago, and so we're going at it again. So in other words, you still ain't got out of being insane, because to do these jobs you got to be a little crazy. You got to do this.
A smidge. Last time there were 10, so this time there's 7. So maybe 7's the lucky number.
You never know. I hope so for you.
Never know,
you work hard, and you're working hard at it. So let's go ahead and we'll get into our questions here, folks. These are the same questions I asked Scotty Brown, and I asked Melissa Nieder, and I asked Richard Coleman, and I'll ask Gene here later, and Brad Howard. Brad's a little sickly, so he was supposed to be on today, but we swapped him and Gene out, so we'll get to hear from Gene in a little bit. Angela, why are you running? You've told us a little bit, but why are you running?
Sure. So I think I have a true desire to build a better future for the county. Like I told you a few minutes ago, I've been here my whole life. I have a vested interest here. I run my small business here. It's very important that the county does well. And of course, my children are here. I have 3 that I've raised here, and they're going to be living here, and now a granddaughter who's going to be living here. So of course, I want what's best for the 3 kids, and of course the grandkids that might come along in the future. So that's one of the reasons that I decided to run. Another is because I feel like I can be a voice for the people. So with my accounting practice in downtown Statesville, I get the opportunity to talk to a lot of clients, and they come in, and probably just like you, if you go out to dinner or you go to the grocery store or Lowe's.
There's no relief. There is no relief.
Somebody is going to see you that knows you, right? And you're going to get quartered, and it's going to be a 30-minute conversation about, well, I have a tax question, or I want to ask you about what's going on with local politics, or, why are the commissioners doing this, or why are our state reps, voting on this? And so you get involved in those kind of conversations. And I think at the end of the day, people just want somebody to explain things to them, right? Like they just want to understand. And of course, we're not always going to all agree, right, on what direction to go, and that's why we elect leaders, right? They're the ones that are going to be our guide. They're going to take us and make the hard decisions for us. But I think people are better with it when somebody talks to them, right, and engages with them. So that's what I try to do, and that's what I want to do if elected is be that voice of communication with the people in this county, so that when there are things that upset them or trouble them, that we can kind of talk and work through them. And I want to encourage people too to be more engaged, because I'm not sure. I know that you're in Raleigh a lot of the times, but at the commissioner meetings and even at some of the school board meetings, the participation is pretty low.
Yeah.
And people are going to have to, be engaged. The other reason that I want to run is because I want to take the skills that have made me successful in business, and I want to apply those to run in the government, right? I think that we need to pick our best, our brightest, our critical thinkers, our problem solvers, because our county is going through a lot of changes right now, and I think we're going to have folks in those positions who are able to work through and find newer solutions, right? Sometimes what's old is great and it works, but when we're faced with new problems, we're going to have to come up with new solutions.
Yeah. And I always, I was county commissioner, and you see this too. It helps to be a numbers person.
It does, because it gives you a background to know. Okay, we only have so many pennies in the till, right? And at the end of the day, you can only stretch those pennies so far.
That's right. All right, we're going to take a hard break right here and be right back with Angela Matthews talking to her about county commission. Hang tight, folks.
Stay with us. We'll have more Taking Care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely after these messages on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, here's the good news. It's going to be a while before we have to worry about any rain across the area. Staying dry for most of the work week. Partly cloudy sky today. Still comfy for early February. High temperatures in the mid-50s. Back down around freezing overnight. A little cooler with low 50s on the way for Tuesday and Wednesday. Climbing back up towards 60, though, by the end of the week. And the rain chances making a return by the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Merlefest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College, featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at merlefest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Mooresville Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience, an evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Want to attend the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, February 23rd through the 25th. Looking for a night of bluegrass and Americana? Darren and Brooke Aldridge are coming to Kane Center for the Arts Friday, February 9th. This husband and wife team are celebrating their 9th recorded project together, This Life We're Living. Darren and Brooke Aldridge, Kane Center for the Arts, Friday, February 9th. KaneArts.org. That's CAIN Arts.org. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Hey, this is Jeff McNeely, owner of G&M Milling Company in beautiful downtown Lowray. We at G&M hope you come by and see us for all your livestock needs. We stock feeds for all kinds of animals and hay too. We also have seed for a wide variety of forages for your animals. So come on by 4000 Taylorsville Highway, Statesville, or call us at 704-873-5758. We're worth the drive. Thank you again for supporting small family-owned businesses. God bless.
Call now to speak with NC Representative Jeff McNeely at 844-STUDIO 4. It's Taking Care of Iredell on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, back here for the middle of the show, we got Angela Wilcox-Matthews with us. She's running for county commissioner. We talked a little bit about who she is and what's going on with her, but now let's talk a little bit about the hard facts. Here we go. So question number 2, there's a lot of talk about the budget increase this past year. Was it the right thing to do? And would you have done anything differently?
So I think you were at the men's club meeting, and I did a presentation, and I have the schedule with me today, and what I like to do is I really want to dig down into the facts, right? Like I'm just that numbers person, right? And I like to look at trends and things like that, inflation, economics, all that stuff comes into play, especially when you're running local government. So I did a schedule for Iredell and all the 9 contiguous counties that surround Iredell, just to kind of see where we were in the mix. And I mentioned that we did have a 26% budget increase from the 22-23 budget to the 23-24 budget. And when I looked at the other counties, we were way ahead. The next closest county was Davie County at 10% of a budget increase, and there were actually 3 counties that had, revenue neutral or no increase. And so I guess it's just governing style, right? And I understand that we're faced right now with a lot of growth, a lot of changes here, a lot of people moving here, and that is playing a role into it. Inflation's playing a role into it. I also know when I dug a little deeper into that budget that there was a $50 million increase in the property tax revenue, and that's a hot topic that we'll talk about a little bit later. It was $50 million increase in the property tax revenue, but on the overall budget, $30 million was allocated to capital improvements, right? Yep. So that would be things that we need to build, buildings that we need to maybe refurbish or whatnot. So my understanding is that, and I don't know all the specifics because I'm not privy to that yet, and so I don't know all the specifics about how much is allocated to each project, but what I have been told is that some of those projects are actually on hold because we have a need now for a new elementary school, which is going to be coming down the pike. So,
not to mention, there's a high school somewhere out there in the great beyond
that we need to get built. Which I think the bids are going to be coming in pretty soon on that. So I think that'll get rolling in 2024, which will be a good thing. But my only philosophy is, and everything that we learned in economics class, is that raising taxes during periods of high inflation is just really bad, and it kind of stagnates your economy, right? And so when you start to raise taxes on folks, then everybody really starts holding their money, right? They really start saving. And so what that does is it's a trickle down effect for like the retail businesses and things like that, and ultimately it will come back around at the government level because we get a lot of our revenue here locally from sales tax, right? Yep. So if people are holding their money and they're, it's just that mouse wheel that you're in, so sometimes, in my opinion, we need to take a look at our wants and our needs. I've said that many times too. We have to do that in our homes every day. And we've been fortunate, a lot of folks I know have been fortunate enough to have been able to provide, but we have some folks in this county who are on fixed incomes, right? Yeah. And monthly they're either on Social Security or a set retirement or disability or, different things like that. So their income is kind of fixed. So for them, the property tax increase was a bigger deal, right? Yeah. And I know you and I talked a little bit about the fact that I don't necessarily mind paying a little bit more, especially if I know we've got to build a school or we have something that's mandated by the Constitution, right, or mandated by the state. As far as the Constitution says, we have to maintain law and order, right? So we have to we're going to fund our sheriff's department. We're going to fund our EMS departments and those kinds of things because we have to. And then the state requires that we build the schools, right? So several of our schools right now are already, at capacity. So those are the things that I think as a county commissioner, we have to take a long look at. These are the things that we need. These are the things that are required by law. And then these are the things over here on the right that we want, right? Like we might want a new government building, or we might want, a new facility built. But right now, with with Joe Biden in office and the economy being the way that it is and people losing faith, I think some of those things are going to have to continue to be put on hold, especially if you want to continue with the traditions here in Iredell, which are a conservative, balanced budget, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's the only thing you can have.
Yeah, and that's all we can do. And I think sometimes people say the word conservative, right? And we have to think about, what does that mean, conservative?
It's thrown around real loosely.
It is, and when you run in politics, you hear it a lot, but you don't see it a lot,
That's
right?
That's right.
My goal will be to come into that position and just offer my skill set, right? Offer things that I have seen done in other counties, things that I've seen in other government agencies, things that they do, ways that we can trim up, ways that we can save up, and make sure that we're meeting the needs of all the residents here in the county.
All right. Well, and it's not easy. It's not easy. Like I said, there's a balancing act between one side and the other, trying to make sure you don't overtax the people, but yet you still provide for the people. So it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. We'll take a look here. All right, question 3. What is Iredell County? And you may have already talked a little bit about it, but maybe not. What is Iredell County's next big thing, and how are you going to go about handling it? How are you going to do it?
So I think it's safe to say we talked a little bit about population and we talked about growth. And we talk about all of these apartment buildings, these cluster home developments going up, and all of these folks moving in, which is great, right? Like we're improving, we're getting some of the things that we've needed here since I was a child. I remember as a little girl when we used to drive up by Signal Hill Mall, it was just the craziest thing when we got a Burger King. We were just you probably remember that too, because we had nothing.
I remember when the Hardys came.
Right. And I remember my mom used to take me to Winston, because she has family in Winston-Salem, and we used to go there because they had all the fast food places, right? And when we got a Burger King, I just thought it was the greatest thing ever. So for me, the next big thing for Iredell County is going to be the schools. I think that's going to be our biggest push, because we're required to do so. Shepherd Elementary, they're already at capacity, and a couple of the high schools are too. So we're not going to have a choice, right? And so we're going to have to figure out how to pay for those things. And the more we grow, the only way to sort of balance that is to do some things that will help kind of slow the growth. And I know a lot of people say, well, why can't we just do moratoriums? Why can't we
illegal?
Why can't we just impose impact fees on these developers?
Illegal again.
And I thought it was interesting, so I did some digging on that topic, and I thought to myself, well, this thing went to the Supreme Court, right, in North Carolina in 2016.
Not long ago.
I thought to myself, let me go look up the party affiliation for the members of the Supreme Court in 2016, and the Republicans had the majority. Did you know that?
Yep.
And they struck down impact fees.
Yep.
Right? So we can't do it. So my thoughts were, when I took a longer look at things, I thought, well, why don't we at least, it won't be a huge impact, but it'll help. Why don't we increase our permit fees just a little bit, right? And that way these developers can kind of pick some of that up, right? And it'll be a little bit extra money, in the till for the county.
Okay.
So, that's, what I think is going to happen. I think some of the other stuff, like I said, it would be nice to have it. Jennings Park is going to be great when it's finished. And I think that what a lot of people are missing, the ones that are opposed to that project, what they're missing in regards to that is that parks like that, a lot of people that have kids know that they travel, right? If you travel for soccer, for baseball, different sports, you might drive 2 hours or 4 hours to go play somewhere. And each time you do that, you're staying in a hotel, right? So you're paying occupancy tax, so that county is benefiting from that. And that's voluntary tax, which I'm huge on voluntary versus mandatory. I hope we have time to talk about that. But you're also
going to be close. We got about 2.5.
And you also have you're spending money in their restaurants and their retail stores, so that's sales tax revenue for the counties. So for the folks that are opposed to projects like Jennings Park or maybe the fairgrounds, I would say think about that money as an investment, right? That's going to come back, tenfold, right? When folks come here and they stay in our hotels, when they spend money, they patronize our small businesses. It's going to be a boost for our economy, and I think that we need to focus more on stuff like that.
All right. And kind of the last thing, Is there something that you really, really want to do if you get in? What is Angela Matthews' passion? What project would she like to see get done? You talked a lot about different things,
So as far as a particular passion, I would have to say there's nothing in particular. I want to work for the people, right? So I think sometimes when you attach your name to a building or a project, you're losing focus on what you were elected to do, right? You're elected to serve the people, to work for the best interests of the people. And if you say, okay, I want to build building X, right? And I want my name attached to building X because I want to be remembered for that 30 years from now that I built building X. I want to be known as the person who went in there and who ran that checkbook like I run my checkbook at home, right?
Yep.
That I made sure that everybody had the same opportunities here, that everybody was taken care of, and that we followed the Constitution. We provided what we needed to for the residents of Iredell County.
All right. We got about maybe 40 seconds here. How can we get up with Angela Matthews? Social media? You on everything?
So, sure, I'm on Facebook, and I didn't do a big website or anything like that because to me, I think it's really important to encourage people to vote. I hope that everybody will talk to family and friends and that they'll vote. Vet your candidates, know what they stand for, and how will they vote, and will they follow the Constitution. And really pay attention to how folks are campaigning because I think that there's some important lessons that we can learn there, that if folks are spending frivolously during their campaign, are they going to spend your tax dollars frivolously?
All right. Well, Angela, good luck. Appreciate you having you on the show. Folks, stay tuned. We got Gene Haupt coming up for the second half, but don't go nowhere.
Keep it right here. Taking care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, here's the good news. It's going to be a while before we have to worry about any rain across the area. Staying dry for most of the work week. Partly cloudy skies today. Still comfy for early February. High temperatures in the mid-50s. Back down around freezing overnight. A little cooler with low 50s on the way for Tuesday and Wednesday. Climbing back up towards 60, though, by the end of the week. And the rain chances making a return by the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
For 42 years, Johnson's Parts and Supply has been your Auto Value Auto Parts store. When you need auto parts, think Johnson's Parts and Supply, your Auto Value Auto Parts store, 1112 Shelton Avenue, Statesville.
Hey, this is Jeff McNeely, owner of G&M Milling Company in beautiful downtown Lowray. We at G&M hope you come by and see us for all your livestock needs. We stock feeds for all kinds of animals and hay too. We also have seed for a wide variety of forages for your animals. So come on by 4000 Taylorsville Highway, Statesville, or call us at 704-873-5758. We're worth the drive. Thank you again for supporting small family-owned businesses. God bless.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Hi, this is Susan. I'm excited to let you know that Lake Mountain Coffee is now available for private events. Our beautiful historic building with its 360-degree mezzanine has hosted many private parties, catered diners, and even an actual wedding. Please contact Andy at 704-252-1886 for more information. Thank you so much.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. As part of what it calls the biggest growth push in its history, McDonald's says it plans to add a net 1,600 more locations around the world this year. The fast food giant made the announcement as it posted quarterly results, including sales that missed expectations. Overall, comparable sales rose 3.4%, the slowest since the fourth quarter of 2020. For that, the Golden Arches blames the conflict in the Middle East. Sales in that region usually make up about 10% of McDonald's revenue. Caterpillar managed to push away concerns of a global economic slowdown with higher sales to...
Hey, man, you there? Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right, cool deal. All right, we're going to bring you in here real quick. We'll probably just, I'm probably going to do the old, who is Gene Haupt thing. If you don't know him by now, I don't know what to tell you, but you go off a little bit on that, and then we'll get into the questions. You got a little extra. You got a little bit extra time than the person that comes on the early part. Okay. We're about on here in about 30 seconds, maybe less. 10 seconds.
With NC Representative Jeff McNeely on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
All right, back here for the second half of the show. I got Gene Halp on the phone this morning. He's did a switcheroo with Brad Howard, and I appreciate him for that. Let's see if we can bring him in there. Gene, are you there?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you having us on.
Oh, you're welcome. Let everybody get to hear a little bit. So anyway, hey, been a commissioner now, what, 8 years at least, 10? I can't keep up.
Yeah, I'm in my fourth term, seeking my fifth term.
So that's right. All right. So a lot of people know you. I know. But go ahead. Who is Gene Halp? For somebody that maybe just moved into the area, and there's a lot of that, who's Gene Halp? Tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll jump into the questions.
Okay. Again, thanks for having us on today. And I'm a Christian. I'm a conservative. I'm a husband, dad, brother, and friend of a lot of people. I'm honored to serve Iredell County, like I said, in my fourth term, seeking my fifth term. I'm a small business owner, retired law enforcement. So, just a regular person, blue-collar guy that's trying to make a difference for 200,000 people in this county. And also I'm a District 12 rep for the NCACC, North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. So I'm honored to serve 8 counties in the region, not just Iredell County.
Well, I know you got a lot going on, and you're involved. You're deep into it. You're an incumbent, and that's a handy thing. I think I done messed around here. I got to get my questions back up now. Hang on here. I got about 18,000 texts while Angela was on here, so don't let me get lost in this here. Hold on here. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. I should know these things by heart, Gene. That shows you I ain't paying attention like I should. But anyway, first question, and I know you've been asked this a lot. You're like me. You're crazy. That's why we do these things. We run for office.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, why are you seeking re-election? What is it you want?
Well, I think that the people, like I said, people have trusted me and trusted my experience and my leadership for 4 terms. I'm seeking my fifth term. Since I've been here, I've been a steady voice for the people. I work with my fellow commissioners. I work with all of our local, state, and federal people on behalf of our citizens of Iredell County. We've worked to lower taxes. We've cut waste. We've supported schools, safe schools with the sheriff and law enforcement. We have, our workforce development, working with our school systems is one of our biggest factors. That's why we're one of the best counties in the state of North Carolina. We're number 2 ranked right now,
yep,
as you know, as a county, and we're number 2 state in the country as far as economic development. But I think, and I told you I was the NCACC District 12 director.
They want to tell the people what that is so they'll know.
That is a North Carolina Association of County Commissioners.
Yep.
I'm elected. There's 8 counties in District 12, and I'm elected by the 7 other counties, my peers. I'm in my 3rd term on that board, which is also historic. So apparently, they think I've done a good job. They've reelected me. But that gives us a voice in the region, gives us a voice in Raleigh and on NACO. When we send you guys at the state and federal level our legislative goals for each county and then each state, that helps us have a voice for Iredell County. You've been a former commissioner in the legislature. You caucus with former county commissioners in the legislature to try to make sure we don't get the unfunded mandates back down on the county level. So you know how important that is. I hope that my being there, they've trusted me for 4 terms. I've worked hard for the people. I've had budget discipline. It's a team effort. There's 5 commissioners. My voting record is almost 100% exact on every major issue in the county since I've ever served with, all the commissioners before me, my current commissioners that I serve with, and staff. We're not perfect, but, we have a lot to be proud of in Iredell County and in this region. We have a lot of growing pains, but, a lot of people don't realize that the county commissioners do not control what the towns and municipalities approve, like with their residential zoning and other things. So, the towns and municipalities do infrastructure, and the DOT does roads outside of the municipalities. And so county commissioners do not control, what these towns and municipalities approve in their ETJs and their town limits. As you know, the Mooresville commissioners are called commissioners as well, and there's some people that are intentionally either lying or misleading the public, trying to make people in the South End upset at the county commissioners for some approvals of residential growth when we've tried to have balanced growth. We've tried to encourage them to slow down the residential growth because, as you know, you always want the residential growth to process slower than your business and industry because the business and industry helps keep your property taxes lower. And I'm proud in my tenure that if any time that we've ever done a school bond, it was voter approved. So I've never voted to raise people's taxes without their approval. This time we had a historic reduction in the tax rate. I heard Angela talking about some people think that we raise taxes. The values during the reval went up, which is controlled by the buyer and seller. But the county commissioners, we reduced the rate almost 4 cents to give as much relief as we could. But, with 26 county departments, Jeff, and we help fund 3 school entities. Most counties have 1, and we have 3. So about 50% of our budget annually goes to the school entities, whether that's current expense or capital expenditures. And our mandated function is, building schools. That's our largest mandated capital function. And so I just hope I really love people. I heard you and Angela talking about engaging, and I heard Scotty and I think Coleman and Melissa when they were on there talked about, we wish our commissioner's room was full every meeting we have. People are busy.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, I think it's important people understand that my voting record is the same as the commissioners I've served with. We've made the best decisions of the options we have. And I always tell people, before you judge our actions, at least ask us our options,
Yep.
And so a lot of people don't realize what we do as commissioners. Even some that are running don't realize what our roles are. And that's not a slight. No, that's not a slight. I'm just saying it takes 1 to 2 years to really get acclimated to that job, and you know that.
And that's kind of why I was sniggering, because it's until you sit there, it's hard to understand what's happening.
Well, you don't. It's hard to understand, and people don't realize the complexity of it. And then having a great relationship, like I pride myself with elected officials on the local level, state and federal. I call it the network. People call me to get help with veterans services, and reaching out to our federal offices, Virginia Fox and Bud now and McHenry when he was there and others to try to get our veterans some help. The problem is under a Democrat administration, 80% of the people working from home.
Yeah.
You got 20% of the people trying to do 100% of the people's job. And I'll just say, Bidenomics is not working in this country.
No, it's not. They're not. I'm not buying it. I'm not renting it, as they say.
And that's just a fact. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. America should be first. We should keep God in our life. The values and morals that you and I were raised with is what this country needs again.
That's right.
But it should not be a partisan issue to put America first. Stand up for your flag. Respect the military and people that died to give you that ability. So, I know I'm preaching to the choir for most people that's listening to your show and you, but it's important. On the local level, we're the people in this county call us because they know us. We're here in the trenches, and we advocate their values all the way up to Washington with you guys and in Washington. So that's why it's important for our taxpayers to continue supporting people like myself that has proven that I fight for them. I concentrate on accessibility to the public. As you know, it takes a lot of time running your own business. You and I both, I'm sure, on the phone more than I'm not, traveling around this county and for other things, because when people call, they're frustrated. They want somebody to answer the phone or call them back and help them if they can.
That's right.
That's what I pride myself in doing. They've trusted me for 4 terms. I've not let them down. I always tell them the truth. Before we do anything with their money, Jeff, we tell them what it's for, how much it's going to be. And I see a lot of slogans with campaigns, not just in my race, but every conservative slogan ought to be, lower taxes, balanced growth, support emergency services, safe communities, all these things that it should be every conservative's
safe
platform.
Schools, everything, yeah.
Yeah, and so we've done that.
Right.
Not bragging. I want to say we've got a lot of things to be proud for, Jeff, as you know, and we've lowered the tax rate. We've never done anything the citizens didn't approve us to do in my tenure. The Jennings Park project that we have, that'll be an investment return in our county. Angela mentioned some things about the people coming here spending money, tax dollars for hotels and restaurants and all those things. The more sales tax revenues we bring in, that helps pay bills as well. And with 2 interstates in Iredell County, over 50% of that sales tax revenue in Iredell County is paid by people who don't even live in Iredell County. That's why I've always said that's the fairest tax you can have if you have to go to the people with additional tax revenue. But I pride myself in the fact that I've been steady for people. They can trust me. I tell them the truth. They don't always agree with us, but more and more people nowadays are calling and wanting to know what our options are. And I think that's important for anybody, is before you judge somebody's option or judge somebody's actions, ask them their options.
Well, and a lot of times the options you get, you don't like any of them, so you take the
exactly.
You take the best you can of the worst there is, and that's just where it's at.
And the frustrating part that I get, and you're a small business owner, people call me and they're very frustrated. Angela mentioned, and other people on your shows mentioned, the rate of inflation and people's incomes are not rising as fast as the cost of groceries and gas and rent, utilities, and all these things. And these people are really concerned. And they're frustrated. I understand that. That's why our board lowered the tax rate more than any other board in history, but we couldn't have done it more than we did, Jeff, because we wouldn't be able to meet the responsibilities and obligations we have for the 26 county departments, the 19 fire departments we help with, 3 rescues, 3 educational entities. It would have been irresponsible to lower it more than we did. And then when we approved Jenny's Park to proceed, some of the other projects, the growth in the budget this year had some capital stuff in it, was a reason for some of that. But we put the other functions on hold, like fairgrounds, the health department, all those other things, until the schools come back.
We got a hard break here in 5 seconds, so just hold tight. Okay. Keep that idea. We're coming right back, folks. Don't leave me.
All right.
All right.
There's more taking care of Iredell with North Carolina Representative Jeff.
Hey, sorry about that, but just had to do that hard break. All right, you kind of done got into it, so it probably won't take us long because the next question is there's a lot of talk about the budget increase. So you done talked some, but we'll go back and do that, and you can go ahead and spill in a little bit of what you think you did with the money, where you're going to go, and that stuff. So we're cool. All right, just hold tight, brother. You still there?
Back up towards 60 though by the end of the week, and the rain chances making a return by the weekend. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Merlefest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College, featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information at merlefest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Mooresville Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience. An evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Want to attend the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, February 23rd through the 25th. Looking for a night of bluegrass and Americana? Darren and Brooke Aldridge are coming to Kane Center for the Arts Friday, February 9th. This husband and wife team are celebrating their 9th recorded project together, This Life We're Living. Darren and Brooke Aldridge, Kane Center for the Arts, Friday, February 9th. KaneArts.org. That's CAINArts.org. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Now, more Taking Care of Iredell with North Carolina Representative Jeff McNeely on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, here back here with the last part of the show. Got Commissioner Gene Halp on the line. Let's see if we can bring him back in. He was wound up pretty good, so we'll see if we can get him going. Hey, Gene, you there?
I'm here, man, trying to fit a lot in in
I
a little
know.
bit of time.
It's hard, brother. It's the fastest hour in history of the world, and I do this every week.
That's
but,
right.
You've already talked a little bit about it. Here's the next question. You can maybe rehash a little bit, and we can move on, whatever. There's a lot of talk about the budget increase from the past year. Was it the right thing to do, and would you have done anything different? And I think you done talked a lot about it. Would you have done anything different if you had to do over?
No, I wouldn't. Our biggest thing is, we always have to make sure we're communicating with our taxpayers and constituents in our county. As I said, in a business philosophy, if you're not growing, you're dying. So we live in a number 2 state in the country and a top 10 county in most every other category, or county-wise, number 2 also. But, we have a lot to be proud of. But a lot of our budget increase this year, we had capital projects and things in there. Plus, we had to, we've approved expenditures for our volunteer fire departments and emergency services, all emergency services, and all those things because our citizens expect and deserve top-notch emergency services. We've invested, in law enforcement, raises for all these people. We've got to recruit and retain the best employees in all of these capacities to serve the citizens. And so what our board decided to do is we proceeded with Jennings Park in 1 phase instead of 3, because then we felt like that's an investment and we'll have a return to the citizens when that's finished, right?
Yeah.
And then the fairgrounds and health department, some of those other projects that's in the budget for expansion or a new health department, we put that on hold because, as you know, our mandated capital expenditure is schools. We've already got the high school we've been waiting on since in 2020, the citizens approved an $80 million bond. And because of the cost of construction materials, that's national, that the cost of construction materials up, that came in at a booming $200 million. Well, we've asked the schools to go back now and get some additional estimates, consider maybe doing it in phases if we have to. And those are the type of things we're waiting on. So we felt like that the prudent thing to do would put the county's projects on hold, which we've always done to make sure we could meet the needs of our mandated functions. We've told a lot of people no over the years, Jeff, every board I've ever served on, to be able to say yes. But you can't proceed with your county elected projects until you meet your mandated projects like the school, capital projects like the schools. You mentioned, and Angela and all your other guests have mentioned, you've got a high school now we need to proceed with that's because of the growth. We've got an elementary, middle schools that's already on the horizon immediately now or in the near future. But by putting some of these things in this year's budget on hold, Jeff, and we lowered the tax rate almost 4 cents, we can take the money we're saving that we would have proceeded in this year's budget, hopefully, and pay the overage for the high school if it comes in reasonable. We've already approved, potentially $40 million over the 80, and we could use that revenue that we put on hold right now from a business perspective to maybe pay that and save interest rates for the county when we get that number back for the school. Because that money being in the budget will be recurring annually, and you can use it for capital projects, whatever they may be, schools or county. And so that we made that business decision working with the staff and the manager to do that while we're waiting on these mandated numbers to come in from the school. And we've always put the county's projects on hold to be able to make sure we were doing the right thing for the mandated things you and I have to do. You and I, we have to pay our rent and mortgage and utilities before we go out to eat with our families. So the county is a $300+ million business that we help run every day. The county commissioners, as you know, we set policy. The manager runs day to day. And, the emergency services, we've invested in those guys to where we've got firemen and rescue people in those stations 24/7, Jeff. The EMS is getting hammered because of the call volumes. Our other county services, we've got good people, but, we've got to recruit, retain, and replace people as they retire. And the citizens in this county deserve that. So my role, working with the other county commissioners, is to tell the people the truth. We've made good, steady business decisions. We've got the airport I serve with Steve Johnson on.
Yep.
That's a huge asset in this region, as you know.
I don't think people understand how it works. They don't understand how the airport works.
People don't realize the importance of having an airport like that. It's one of the best in the region. And with your business leaders being able to fly in and they don't have to go to Charlotte, getting that traffic, it's been a huge asset. You guys have helped get millions of dollars from the state and federal agencies back home for the airport, the fairgrounds, road construction, schools, the sheriff's office, boats. You guys, I'll give you credit. You guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
Getting things back home. And that's just the truth of it. We all work hard. Are we perfect? Do you guys sometimes have to make decisions that's not the best for us here? Sure. But you guys are having to give and take in Raleigh to try to get people to cooperate with you guys to get, things back for Iredell County. And we understand that. But it's like anything else. You and I or anybody else are not going to always agree. But I tell people politics is a lot like a GPS. The address you put in there is the same, but it gives you at least 3 options to get there. All of our options as conservatives is safe communities, lower taxes, managed growth, managed business, lower, a workforce. Our schools, Jeff, does a great job on training our workforce.
Yes.
We've got a growing county with business and industry, and if that business and industry continues to outpace residential growth, that keeps our property taxes low. People have disposable income when they have better jobs. They can go to our restaurants, Jeff, as you know, and everybody benefits. There's jobs out here for people if they want to work.
That's right.
And a lot of counties, people say, well, so-and-so county lowered their taxes more than you did or whatever. I said, we're the leader. They want to be like us. I said, we lowered our taxes as much as we could to give you the relief we could, but it would have been irresponsible to lower the tax rate more than we did with all the responsibilities and obligations we have, Jeff. Those surrounding counties, I can tell you, talking to the commissioners firsthand, they'll raise them taxes back up sooner than later because they allow the political pressure to drive the decision instead of good, sound business practices. And they'll get hammered raising the taxes back up more than they would have lowering them less.
Wow.
Because I pride myself with the other commissioners is to tell the public the truth. And this is what we did. We gave as much relief. There was discussion on not lowering it at all, Jeff, because of all the responsibilities and obligations we have. But we said we've got to give our citizens some relief as much as we can. And that's what we did. And our manager had to change our budget message at the last minute because we made that final decision after we got all the numbers in that we had been waiting on. And, Jeff, we make good business decisions. But a lot of times citizens are frustrated. They're emotional. They make comments like, kicking incumbents out because they're frustrated with things. That is not in my control as a county commissioner. I don't control the border. The fentanyl coming
You know
here,
what? I don't either, but people think we do.
I know. well, that's what I'm saying. But we get to get the frustration because we're in the trenches locally with people. And we advocate to you guys in Raleigh, to our legislators and president, when we had a Republican president, that because he would listen and he would answer the phone.
I know.
Why would it be a partisan issue, Jeff, to not protect your border? Why would you ever defund police? I mean, some of this stuff is just ridiculous.
I know.
I tell my Democratic colleagues that I represent as a county commissioner, guys, you've got to secure your borders. You don't leave your doors unlocked at home. The people that carry weapons to protect their families. This is crazy. You've got to do the right thing in common sense. Keep God in our lives. Our schools, we've had suicides in our schools, Jeff, because of social media and things that these kids are involved in. And we've got to have great teachers and administrators and stuff in our school systems because that is training our workforce, Jeff. And as long as we have a trained workforce, our business leaders are going to come here if we have good schools, low taxes, access in and out of our county with the airports, interstates.
Good roads,
all of those things. But there's a big spectrum of things a lot of people don't understand particularly, but they trust us to make these decisions. And I tell people every day, Jeff, before you judge my actions, understand that whether you voted for me or my 4 other colleagues, we have voted the same 99% of the time on every major issue because it was the best decision of the options we had.
Yeah.
And I have people all the time say, that makes a lot of sense, Gene. My votes are the same as theirs. And whether they voted for me or them, we are doing the best we can for them with the options we have. And more people, when you have an opportunity to talk to them, more and more people understand that, Jeff, and they're like, that makes a whole lot of sense.
It does. You remember that time you asked me one time, said, what are we going to do about it? I said, well, Gene, we're going to do it as cheap as I know how, and we're going to do it as fast as I know how. And you said, you know what? You're exactly right. And that's what we do. And that's what we do.
The biggest thing is do it as efficiently as you can. You try to put the fires out when you have the fires where you need to. We've got an awful lot of wonderful people in this county, and we've got a lot of, I call them opportunities instead of problems, because a lot of people would love to have the opportunities and problems we have.
That's right.
We just have to continue working together with the citizens to navigate through this economy. And I hope my steady leadership, my trust, I get along with all my commissioners and work on their behalf, our staff, you guys, Washington. There's a lot of problems in the country. I get it, and I agree with that. But we need to continue communicating. We're transparent to our people. I hear people use that word easily, that we need to be transparent. We are transparent. Our meetings are open to the public. We have recorded minutes every meeting. They can log on at their leisure and watch the meetings, Jeff. No, everything we do is transparent to the people.
Hey, Gene, we're going to have to stop because I got to get my prayer in. But, hey, all right, Gene Haupt, running for re-election, folks. I appreciate you coming on, Gene. Let me go to my prayer. Just hold with me here.
God bless you.
Yep. Hey, dear Heavenly Father, dear Lord, just be with us, watch over us, take care of us, lead us, and give us direction, give us wisdom as we're elected, dear Lord, to lead these people. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. Hey, happy birthday out there, Alice Yunt Teague, the big 6-0. See y'all.
You've been listening to North Carolina Representative Jeff McNeely. Join Jeff again next Monday morning at 11:05 for Taking Care of Iredell on News Talk WSIC.
The new.
Hey, Gene, you still there? Hey, he's done gone. He's gone. All right, I'll talk to him later.